There it is, dude.
Dirty.
You got yourself.
Well, I did it. I bought another car for 95% off. This thing originally was over $100,000 because of that beautiful V10 power plant with the SMG transmission, the same one that's in the Aventador. Super cheap, $5,900. The shipping was a little crazy because it was in Long Beach, which is only like 30 minutes from where I live. And they originally quoted me $200 and they said I couldn't pick up the car. So I said, okay, fine, ship it, $200. Then it ended up being $400 and it was delivered on a U-Haul trailer. So that's outrageous, $400, 30-minute drive on a U-Haul trailer. But as you can tell, the car is beat to shit. If you haven't noticed, that's why it's 95% off. We're gonna get it running. It doesn't start right now. The battery's dead. We tried to jump it. We had to push it off the trailer. Let's see what I got myself into right now.
Yeah, let's start diving into this thing.
So obviously it's dirty. We're gonna spray it down. So we're gonna take a look at what it looks like clean, but I don't see any major hits. It does have 109,000 miles, which these motors are known for blowing themselves up. So we're gonna make sure to fix anything like the rod bearings. The seats are wrecked, but white seats, that's what they'll do after 100,000 miles. This is disgusting, but you can see the foam is cracking right here.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's, it's what happens. So what's cool is the entire headliner, even like the A-pillars, are all Alcantara. So that I love. The steering wheel is actually in really good shape. For 100,000 miles, I don't know if this has been replaced. The gauges look good. There's a lot of carbon fiber everywhere. The entire roof is carbon fiber. So all the black leather inside the car looks fine. All the white leather is all cracked. So we're gonna put race seats in this anyways, so we're gonna be getting rid of these seats. Center console, I'll probably need a new one because this is nasty. Some like leather conditioner, we could really get this cleaned. This shifter is a very unique shifter. It's like a manual automatic is what they call it. It's the precursor to the dual clutch. It's like a single clutch automatic, something like that. We got it into neutral, but I can't get it back into park. There actually is no park. I have the e-brake on, we got it chalked so it doesn't roll down the hill. Yeah, so we got the key. The key was zip tied to the steering wheel. So as you can tell with a key like this, you press this button, you get the key to unlock the doors if the battery's dead like it is right now. This goes right here, and when I go to start the engine, nothing. Obviously you need to put your foot on the brake, but we don't even get any lights or anything. Pop the hood. Here, let's take a look inside the trunk. Oh, that doesn't work. Let's open up the trunk. So first thing I noticed, it's been debadged, which I'm not a big fan of badges anyways, so that doesn't bother me too much. These taillights are some of the ugliest taillights I've ever seen in my life. So I'll have to see if there's something cooler that we could do.
Okay, now we'll figure out how to open the trunk.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
Tons of crap in here,
all
dude.
kinds of crap in the back, which I'm not surprised. That's usually what happens when you buy salvage title cars. So this is like I think an armrest cover.
Probably because the other one looks so shitty.
We got this. That's nice to know that the person cared about protecting the dash. We got, this is gross.
Ew.
Wearing the person's clothes. Western Pride.
Western Pride.
Davies Locker, Newport Beach. So this has been local. This is a pretty small jacket.
Possibly female.
This looks like some kind of like seat cover.
Yeah.
No, it's got, wait, is that the battery?
Yeah, look how big that thing is. It's a super start. That is, I think, O'Reilly's or AutoZone special.
Oh, look, it says Santa Ana right there. So I know with BMWs, like you can't just use whatever battery you want because like they'll just keep dying. Something to do, like you have to tune the alternator or something when you get a new battery. It's some kind of stupid thing that they do. So it looks like we got the owner's manual, which is great. That's phenomenal. Love that. It's got some kind of like tow hook, water, a frying pan.
What the fuck?
A non-stick frying pan. We got a jacket.
That would fit you, dude.
No, it wouldn't. This is so gross. This thing, a shoe rack.
Your older organizer. Ooh, a bunch of random bolts.
I don't know what the hell this is.
An umbrella?
I don't know. Comment down below if you know what the hell this is. I don't know what it is. But overall, just your normal, frying pan so that, I don't even know.
Looks like my trunk.
Paper towels aren't bad.
Let's see, is this thing even really a V10? Oh, yes it is.
Wow, dude. Wait, how does this thing...
Are the struts bad?
Struts are bad, I think. That is cool. I've never owned a V10. I had a V12 a while ago, Jaguar V12. This is like an F1 V10. It revs super high. It's got like the independent throttle bodies that go to some kind of like plenum thingy.
Oh, look, you can kind of see them right there. Let's see if I get that right. Yeah, right there. You can see it's kind of one of the throttle bodies right there. We should definitely pull this off.
So these engines are cool. They make 500 horsepower stock. They rev really high. They sound pretty cool. We're gonna do a custom exhaust system, obviously. There's a lot we can do with this car, but one of the first things we're gonna have to do is replace the rod bearings if they haven't already been replaced, because the rod bearings break and then your entire engine goes kaboom. And I don't want to spend the money on a replacement engine because it's expensive as hell, like triple what I paid for this car. I bought the Carfax for it. It's remained local its entire life. It was driven like a month ago.
Okay, so then the fluids probably aren't too bad.
The accident, whatever happened in the accident, happened like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So everything should be fine on it. And it's been serviced at every BMW place. I bought the whole Carfax. I got everything.
Okay.
It should be good. Like, it's not like, other than the wear, it's just a high mileage vehicle for dirt cheap. And then of course it had some kind of accident, which doesn't really give me the details about it, but maybe, is that the accident? I mean, it said the primary damage was scratches, light scratches.
Yeah, did you see the front bumper was kind of fucked up?
Would it be a Backspeed Boys car without a fucked up front bumper? Oh yeah, it is.
Well, not only there, but look right here.
Oh yeah, right there.
Looks like something's definitely been hit, or
I mean,
we're
probably gonna put a new front bumper anyways, so I don't really care.
Right.
I actually don't mind the paint color. It's like a bluish silver. They're really easy to keep clean.
I like the wheels, those stock wheels.
I want to get it running. I want to spray this thing down. I want to see how clean it is. And the windows have been tinted, so in the Carfax, I think this happened a few months ago. We may have gotten a really, really good deal. Next thing we're gonna do is test the battery to see if the battery's bad. If the battery's bad, that will explain it. Otherwise, maybe the key is wrong, or maybe the key is bad, but we can't even get the lights, even with the jumper connected, we can't even get the lights to show up. So hopefully it's just a bad battery, although this battery looks pretty big and expensive. So that part I don't like.
Here, so I grabbed the multimeter. Let's see what the battery's putting out.
Oh, where all these photos come from?
That was all just junk that was on there. Do you see this? Look.
What is this thing?
Look at all that stuff.
So on a little quick side note, these brakes look like they need to be replaced. That lip right there, I don't know if you can see it, but the lip is massive. So both the fronts and the rears are toast. On top of everything, the carbon fiber roof is completely destroyed. So all that clear is peeling. We're gonna have to recoat. But you can see the bare carbon fiber exposed right there. So that all has to be fixed as well. So Lenny's gonna put a battery in the trunk right now. So we just went up and got a brand new battery for the car. As you can see, the old one was shot.
Okay.
So when you do this, you're supposed to program the vehicle for the battery. We're not gonna do that at the moment because we just wanna get it started, see if it actually starts, and put it into the driveway. And we will focus on tuning it later for this battery.
Hold on.
Nice. Oh my God, is that a mask? A mask?
Oh!
Mask.
So this is actually the supposed cause for the virus was actually from this mask.
Yes, this is
mask.
patient number 0 right here. So watch this.
Ah!
There we go. I am officially, this is my first BMW, and I went straight to the V10. So,
do we just like completely skip every like preventative maintenance? We're just gonna start the car.
first things first, let's do that. First thing,
Oh my gosh. Is this just gonna work?
Gas.
It's out of gas?
It needs gas.
Want to add some gas real quick?
Yeah, let's add some gas before we start it up.
Alright, pull it out.
Hold on, what language is that?
Xe miễn phí. Mời quý vị hãy gọi ngay.
I knew it was owned by an Asian. I knew it. You know why? Because you'll never find a non-Asian walk around with advanced for men eye repair cream. Okay, Asians know how to take care of their skin.
Dead giveaway right there.
I'm telling you, dude.
Okay, let's put some gas in it.
But that's good because Asians take really good care of their cars. So I'm happy. Now I gotta put gas in it because the gas light, so the little gas gauge reads 0, like complete 0. And I don't want to run it too low on gas.
You should check to see if it's leaking right now.
In case there's junk.
Anything dripping out?
No leaks. Is it really a BMW if it doesn't leak?
Drink you V10. We literally just put gas in it. It just cranks and fires up and runs.
We have to put a new battery in it.
That battery and gas is nothing, dude. That would be insane.
I mean,
this would be the deal of a lifetime.
It needs new tires. It needs new brakes. I don't even have a real title for it. I gotta go get it approved by the state of California that it's a running, driving car. I mean, we are far from getting this thing on the road.
All right, we just added a little bit of gas. I think Noah's just gonna say fucking full send. Let's do this. Crank this bitch. No way.
Oh, we gotta check this light.
Oh, the noise is terrible.
That sounds terrible.
That sounded really bad.
Something is severely fucked up with that. Fuck, dude. I don't know.
Maybe it's because you had low tire pressure. What's wrong?
In drive, it wasn't moving.
Try reverse.
Nothing.
Nothing? Okay, so it's probably out of transmission fluid. So
I don't know, dude. The good news is that now I have this unlocked.
maybe you might have bought a V10 M6 with a blown transmission.
This sucks. It didn't say any of that. It said primary damage was just scratches. It didn't say any damage. So,
Yeah, this could be really
so
bad.
far, my review of Copart is that it absolutely sucks. It said that it drove forward. On the listing that I bought, it said that they started up the car and that it drove forward. But there's also a bunch of things saying, hey, you know, they could be lying straight to your face and it's your problem. It's as is. So I guess that's just the way it goes. We gotta get a code reader. I mean, the transmission didn't work. That could be a lot of bad things.
That's a lot of money
and
right there.
this transmission's not cheap.
Maybe this thing wasn't as good as we thought.
Okay, the car doesn't move forward or reverse. We will figure it out. It's something. Hopefully it's not a blown transmission. The engine's running really rough too, so I don't want to deal with that anymore today. But I do want to clean it because it's filthy. So let's clean it and see, you know, how nice the paint is underneath. Look at that. Look how much
Ew.
starts coming off.
Dude, there's so many cobwebs on it. Dude, I found rat poop in the engine bay.
Yeah, really? Okay, so I just hosed the car down, got some soap on it just to clean it. The paint is actually in pretty good shape. And if you come back here, you can see it used to be either wrapped or plasti dipped. So probably wrapped, but there's like this coating on it that I could peel off all around the rear of the taillight. See it right here too. So that's why the paint is in such great shape. Right here on this back bumper, it's starting to fade and crack, but that's easy. Overall with the car, was it an amazing deal? Probably not. We're probably gonna get royally screwed in the process of trying to restore it and get it back out on the road. But so far it's running like crap. It doesn't drive forward or reverse. Exactly what I need right now, another broken car. And I could tell you this is not going to be easy to fix. But are we gonna give up and do nothing about it? No, we'll get it running. Oh my God, dude. What is all that stuff?
I don't know, dude. Hold on, let me check it out. That's rat poop, dude. That's rat poop.
As you know, I bought the coolest BMW ever made, but it happens to be the worst BMW ever made because it is incredibly expensive, the most unreliable BMW, and it's all gonna be worth it because of that beautiful V10 power plant that we are going to have a lot of fun with. But the problem is we gotta make it run. In the last episode, we got the car running. It wasn't running well, but it was running. We're gonna make sure that that engine is running perfectly fine and try to figure out everything that's wrong with it. So first things first, let's get the code scanner. Let's figure out what's wrong and we'll go from there. Okay, so let's pull this piece off. Anyways, if you look, you can see we got the ABS light is on. Got the thing plugged in. Got the car is in the on position, but not obviously running. We've got the low tire pressure. We got the ABS light. So what the weird thing is we don't have a cog. Now there's a yellow cog, which means transmission failure, and a red cog, which means transmission failure. We don't have either of that. So I have no idea why the transmission doesn't engage, but we have no codes saying anything about that. We do have other codes though. We do have a check engine light. So we got cylinder 8 misfire,
Okay.
cylinder 3 misfire, random multiple cylinder misfires, cylinder 2 misfire, cylinder 6, cylinder 5, cylinder 8, and back. So
Almost the entirety of every cylinder.
yep. We have new spark plugs and coils that we're gonna install, hopefully getting rid of that problem. If not, it'll be something else that's, I'm sure, expensive. So you could look right there, that little AT is for the automatic transmission. You got nothing. No codes.
Nothing?
Yeah, no codes.
What?
And we're not getting the transmission thing, so
It's probably something stupid.
I have no idea what it is causing the car to not engage, but we'll focus on that later. Let's first just get the car running right, because I hate running it with all the misfires. Just asking for something to break. Okay, obviously first thing we gotta do is disconnect the battery. We don't wanna screw things up. This car's already known for having a lot of electrical issues. Okay, another problem with the car is that the struts don't work. So try to lift up the hood and it just keeps coming back down. So I got this big metal rod.
Boom.
That should work.
All right.
Luckily, thank God, they didn't put the spark plugs underneath. They're right here up on the top. We do have 10 of them to replace, but it shouldn't be that hard to get to, because if it was down here, I don't know how we would have been able to reach them. Okay, first thing we gotta do is start disconnecting some of this stuff. So like these very important sensors, disconnect them. And then now you can tell Lenny's pulling off these little parts to the airbox. And then I gotta get this top layer off as well. I'm noticing a lot of rat poop all right here. So that's not good.
Okay, there we go. Look at that. That is the first airbox, which, wow, looks really clean inside. Look at that. It actually looks pretty good. And yeah, the filter doesn't look that old either. A little dirty, but not too bad. So we will put these aside.
I know this car looks really, really beat, and it is, but it's been serviced by BMW its entire life. It's had its good servicing throughout its high mileage. So, you know, that's one positive side to this whole mess.
Okay, so we gotta move this little overflow box because you can't get to the rear plugs. So there's one bolt, I'm gonna disconnect these lines. Not too bad.
Droplets.
So we can kind of set these on the side.
Oh, now it's coming out.
Okay. So like BMWs are known, these little like plastic lines, like you like breathe on them, they burst open. It happened to be my Beamer. So I like to be extra careful. So it's already missing one of the bolts. There's a bolt supposed to go right here. So that's a really good sign when your Beamer's already missing bolts.
Holy cow, guys. Would you look at that? I don't know if you guys can see how much rat shit there is right there, but that's definitely not a good sign when you're already dealing with one of the most notoriously unreliable BMWs with tons of electrical problems, and you have that much of a rat problem. I mean, it looks like this rat ate Taco Bell and just like unloaded on top of the engine. Now we got to remove each coil and its corresponding spark plug. So here's the first one, as you can tell, definitely used. Okay, we got most of the coils out on both sides. We just have that back one, which is hard to get to. So we have to remove this whole component. So I pulled out the cabin air filter. As you can see, I've been just throwing all this crap on the ground. The weird part about this car is that based on the appearance and the condition of the car, it seems like the car has been abandoned. It seems like it's sat in a field for like 20 years, even though according to the Carfax and everything, it was running just a few months ago. So I don't know what's going on, but it is dirty, and we're just gonna try to clean all this up.
Damn, dude. So this far back one, all the way in the, I don't know, what is that, cylinder 10?
Look at that, dude.
That gave us so much problems. Okay, if you don't know, if you're not familiar, that's the one that we pulled out. That's what it's supposed to look like. So yeah, this thing's trash. Okay guys, so we have 9 of the 10 coil packs out. Look at this last one. It is giving me absolute hell. I mean, it looks like I've been chewing it off with my freaking teeth. There's really not a whole lot to grab onto anymore. So I've become very creative, and I'm still trying to figure out how to get it out. It's in a really tight area, so it's an absolute bitch. All right, here we go. First plug down, we got it out. It looks kind of crusty, not the worst. But I got this sweet borescope. We can stick the camera down inside the cylinder and check her out. That's the top of your piston. Is that a crack? It looks like there's 2 little dashes right here. We'll have to see. Either that's a imprint in the cylinder or you have a 3-piece cylinder. Hopefully not.
We got the new spark plug gaps ready to go. Just put it in here, and it's gonna fall out as soon as I do this.
I would just shove it down in the hole first. Inserting that baby in there.
I'm trying to thread it in and not cross thread it, you know. It's a little tricky when you have a spark plug fit in so deep down there.
Super fine thread.
I think it's in there.
Yeah, I think we're good. Oh my gosh, when I say this took me 30 minutes, look at that thing, dude. I don't know why it was so sealed in there. but we can finally do the rest of the spark plugs now.
Okay, we got most of the spark plugs out. The rear one's a little tricky, and that's why I got this bendy boy right here. As you can tell, I have like 360-degree movement from this thing. So these are the kind of contraptions you need if you want to work on a BMW. And we're just doing maintenance right now. We're not doing anything crazy. We're just changing spark plugs. So this is how you do it.
Okay, so spark plugs all in and tight. Now it's time to put these new coil packs in. So pretty straightforward. You kind of just jam it in there. It's got these really nice green grippers that kind of do the trick. And BMW is so kind to give us some little guides right here, so you can't mess it up. It's pretty simple. Kind of just wiggle it in, press down. You hear that little snap? Okay. And the way this thing works is kind of cool. You kind of half press it in, and then push the switch down, locks it in place. And there you go, you're done, just like that. So I'm gonna finish up the last 3, and we're good to go.
Had to disassemble a lot of plastic, and since so much of it is just so filthy, I'm gonna clean them real quick. While we have a lot disassembled, now we're gonna do a little bit more fixing. Now this might not solve our problem with the transmission, but it might, and if it doesn't, it's a good thing anyways because it's preventative maintenance. So I've got this relay right here, about 15 bucks, and it's incredibly important for the transmission to work. Sometimes at around 100,000 miles, these relays just go out and then the car will leave you stranded. So if this doesn't fix our problem now, at least it'll be preventative maintenance. So all you gotta do is take this little piece off.
Holy shit, dude.
And it goes somewhere in there. And I bought another $15 preventative maintenance. So in total, $30 of preventative maintenance, 2 relays that are that usually go out around 100,000 miles on these cars. So I'm gonna replace both of them. Maybe they'll fix the transmission problem. I don't think so, but who knows? We're gonna do it anyways. So let's find out where these things go. Got it out. So that's the green one. I gotta replace with this new green one. And if you look at the old one looks almost identical. But who knows? A lot of heat exposure.
They break internally.
Yeah, they break. Okay, so both the sensors have been replaced. This was the old one. As you can tell, the cap came off. I don't know if it's damaged. It looks like it's in pretty good shape, but not good that the cap came off. Hopefully we fix something. If not, at least we know that's one less thing that could break on this car. That's one of 100 items that can break. That is now solved. We just bought ourselves another 100,000 miles without the relay problem. So, fixing the rod bearings? No. Fixing the vanos? No. Fixing the relays? Yes. Okay, spark plugs are done, relays are done, things are cleaned. So now let's start putting everything back together exactly how it was before. Since we're in the middle of it, I bought a new set of cabin air filters because the old ones were all grimy and gross. So extra horsepower, baby.
Well, the engine is pretty much completely reassembled now. So all that's left is, well, to start with the car. Noah just reconnected the battery, so fire it up. Well, it sounds a little bit better.
It does. It doesn't sound as bad.
But there are definitely some noises that I can't explain. Stop! Noah, stop. Dragging the chalk, dude.
It moves. It does move a little bit, but it's like having trouble. What is that? What's going on?
I mean, you literally got it to move like 3 feet. And the motor sounds a lot better. It doesn't sound great, but it sounds better.
It must be low on fluid.
I don't know.
Welcome back to the cheap V10 BMW supercar build. And if you're watching this video, that means we've accomplished something significant. About 6 months ago, I bought one of my dream cars, a high-revving V10 supercar that BMW made back in 2007, the M6. But I bought the worst condition one available for sale and the cheapest one in the world at the time. I bought it from Copart, and on the listing it said that it had been in an accident with no mechanical damage and that it runs and drives forward and reverse. Now, the Copart buying experience was a complete disaster, but I won't bore you with those details. It arrived on a U-Haul trailer boiler completely dead, brakes locked up. So we replaced the battery and it was completely out of gas. So we put some gas in it, started it up, and it sounded terrible.
No way. Oh, the noise is terrible.
Also, it wouldn't drive forward or reverse. In drive, it wasn't moving. Just another junker added to the collection of broken POSs I owned at the time. So we scanned it and it showed a ton of misfires. So we swapped out the plugs and coils and the misfires went away. Then I replaced all the SMG fuses, but the transmission still didn't work. Then we took it to our shop, got it up on a lift, and changed the oil. The old oil didn't look too terrible, but with its mileage of 109,000 miles, it's long overdue for rod bearings. But I wanted to figure out the transmission first, so I had multiple BMW experts come check out this car, and that was very hard because most BMW mechanics refuse to even touch or get near an E60 or E63, M5 or M6. The ones that did come out used their special scanners to figure out what's wrong with the transmission, and they all said the same thing. There's no transmission codes and that I need to get rid of this car ASAP. They valued fixing this car as low as $25,000, as high as $60,000. So I pulled the bitch ass move and I put the car up for sale. And I even had a few people look at it and they were like, hell nah, this is too much for me. But then my friend Sam convinced me to try again, and he believes it's just a clutch issue. Now my faith is restored in this project and I said, let's do it. Basically, me and Lenny have pulled the transmission out of the car to do a deeper inspection because we know there's something clutch related that's wrong. Obviously, there's a million things wrong with the car right now, but the main thing preventing us from driving it is somewhere to do with the clutch. Now, this is the SMG3 transmission, very similar to what they put in the Aventador and a lot of other hot exotic cars. It is basically an F1 transmission. What it is a manual transmission with a million complicated wires and seals and fluids that electronically, automatically control it. But by doing this, it's able to, I guess, make the car faster. It also makes it much more complicated. We basically pulled the fork off, all the other components, and they look fucked up. So that's not good, but it is good because it's kind of telling a little bit of a story. It's explaining why the clutch isn't engaging. But overall, just doing some tests with the car, we know that pretty much the SMG pump works. We know that a lot of the seals are good, even though we are going to be replacing those anyways. Overall, we're in a pretty good position right now. Guys, I know I was trying to get rid of this car. I know I gave up. You can't start a project and give up. If you start a project, you gotta finish it. And I know financially it doesn't make sense to finish this project. There's a lot of reasons why I shouldn't, but at the same time, since when have I ever made good decisions anyways? So I think it's much more fun if we fix it and we get to hear that V10 roar finally. I know you guys love it. I love it. It's one of my favorite European cars of all time. And these are an amazing value. I mean, for $5,900 I had basically a car that V10 supercar. Doesn't get better than that. It's time to remove the clutch and find out what's wrong with it. The clutch was beat. While pulling the bell housing off the engine, tons of clutch material fell out, which is a great sign. I've never been so happy to see a torn apart clutch. There we go. The flywheel is removed, and I had to use this special e-torque right here to basically get those bolts out. We got a brand new clutch we're gonna put in. Performance clutch that can hold a lot of power. So the good news is that I believe that the clutch is pretty much one of the main things holding us back on this vehicle. So once we put the new clutch in, we should have a good running and driving M6. Obviously, you know, I gotta get on tires because these tires are shot, and then instantly after that we gotta deal with the rod bearings, but we should have a running driving M6, which is amazing. So I feel like an F1 mechanic right now working on this SMG. Here's the deal. We have a brand new little clutch fork pivot pin. We got a brand new clutch fork because the old ones were just worn to shit. So we're just replacing those parts. Now we got the slave cylinder. You'd think, oh, maybe you should buy a new one. Well, they're $600. And this one, I believe, works perfectly fine. So instead of replacing a $600 part, what we're gonna do is flip the bolts that are in it around so that if worst case scenario it breaks, I can replace it without having to actually drop the whole transmission. Doing that requires, you know, removing these highly complicated lines that I'm sure are all vacuum sealed and require all kinds of bleeding procedures. and things that I really don't know anything about, but it's the only way. And we'll figure it out one way or another. Now I could pull it out, and then there we go. So this component right here is like $600. On a normal manual transmission, you could pick these up for like 20, 30 bucks all day long. But that's what it goes for. I think it's like 60 bucks for the manual transmission version of this car, which I really wish I had. These bolts right here, we gotta get them out and flip them around. That way I can remove this without dropping the transmission later on. Well, we did it. Slave cylinders in, bolts are flipped around. So now that's just one little thing to hopefully maybe save us if that goes all wrong. So back to the pilot bearing. Okay, so I've got a new pilot bearing that I gotta fit right in here. And basically how you wanna do it is you wanna use a harmonic balancer pulley kit so you can get an even, precise push on it. Unfortunately, we're dealing with a special supercar V10 right now, and these bolts won't work. So I'm gonna use a socket and a mallet and just fucking bang this shit in. There you go, it's that easy. Okay, so our buddies over at Spec Clutch hooked us up with not only the flywheel, the twin disc clutch, pressure plate, release bearing, all the bolts that we need, pretty much a full kit that can handle a ton of abuse. I mean, this is much stronger than stock. This is what people do on their race cars when you want to throw a supercharger on. So this can handle a whole lot of torque. So it's a major upgrade for this car, and hopefully could get the M6 running once again, which I will not quit until we do. So here we go. Flywheel's got to go on. Okay, I'm just wiping off all the grease off of the flywheel. We just torqued down all the bolts, so it's on there. Now is the fun part. Now I get to start putting the components back together. Okay, we got clutch, then this little metal plate, and then another clutch because this is a twin disc clutch. We got our alignment tool. Got the alignment tool. Just place this in right here. This disc goes like that. This goes like this. We got everything in basically. All I need is just the pressure plate. Oh damn, that thing is heavier than I thought. Now we just place the final component on.
Holy smokes.
Okay, now that the clutch is in, let's start assembling the transmission and pop it back in. Okay, now for the most important part, we got brand new components like this fork, brand new pivot pin, spring, lubed everything up. We got that release bearing. So anywhere where two spots touch is pretty much lubed up. Now I just gotta fit this fucking piece in here. That's not good. There we go. This is the release bearing, a very important piece. I'm gonna slide that piece in right there. There we go. Components are all in. Now we gotta take this big piece of junk and put it back into the car. God, I hope this works. So now's the fun part where we're putting the bell housing bolts back in. Getting this transmission in was a major bitch, and there's so many very expensive and sensitive wires and lines that run all along this, so getting it up is hard. Also, it weighs like a fucking ton. Maneuvering around's hard, but it's in, and now we're just putting the bell housing bolts in, and you know, that's always fun. You gotta build tools with all kinds of extensions. Luckily, our friends from Gear Wrench gave us a ton of extensions, so we're able to get the job done. Just wait till you see Lenny's contraption.
Okay, so now we gotta do all the bell housing bolts on the very top of the transmission. Now, it's not something that you can just reach your hand up and do. So I literally have a step stool to reach the top of the transmission and a very long extension tool device that I've made. Now you might be asking yourself, well, how does this, you know, get held onto here to get all the way into the top of the transmission? This is not magnetic. Well, a little bit of tape and some ingenuity kind of keep it somewhat sticking together. I already did one of them. So like that, I should be able to thread this in, tighten it, pull it out, and we should be good to go. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're in. Okay, there we go. 2 more and we're done.
Guys, I think we just found an M6 factory flaw. So we just got done putting the transmission back, all the wiring, the exhaust, we are almost ready to go. And right here on these clamps that clamp the exhaust system to the factory header, yeah, these have factory headers on them, it came off. And we're like, what? You need that piece. Basically, they use a clamping force to pull the exhaust together. And if you look on this side, there's a big weld all around it. On this side, there was nothing at all. So I'm gonna weld this bracket in place. That's crazy. I mean, that's insane, guys. This is the M6. This was the best BMW you could have gotten in 2007. So that's insane. Now that everything's back in, our friend Sam is helping us reprogram the clutch. This transmission needs a relearning and bleeding procedure after a new clutch is installed in order for it to work. And let's hope I didn't fuck anything up. So the wheels spin, which is good, but we hear a bad noise like something doesn't want to spin. Which could mean we need to drop the transmission again to inspect what's going on. But luckily the procedure says it worked, so now let's put the car on the ground and test it. Holy cow. We might have successfully fixed the car. Guys, finally, the M6 is driving once again. And you can see our good friend Sam helped us out big time. The thing's moving. The M6 is moving. I mean, this is something that I gave up because I was being a pussy ass bitch and I said, fuck it, I can't figure it out. Anything could be fixed.
Guys, the M6 is actually running. After all this time, after so much unknown, after all the things that we did to it, trying to fix it, Sam helped us reprogram the new clutch, and we got a working M6 now. Now, there's still a load of problems that we have to address.
Okay, here we go. First drive of the M6. And holy shit.
Damn, dude.
We're like almost out of gas. I didn't want to post another episode until we got it running. And here we are now.
How many months later?
Way too much. I don't want to talk about it.
Hey, but it's running, and that's all that matters.
Guys, I'm just so shocked.
Now comes the real fun. Rod bearings.
This is insane, guys. This is a car that I've wanted for so many years now, but I've never bought because one, it was kind of too expensive, and two, it's expensive to maintain. But now we're in a position where it makes sense to do this. You know, we took a massive risk on this car, and you know, it was scary, but here we are. I mean, there's still so much that needs to be done, but just I'm so happy with how far we've gotten. I want to stress that me and Lenny are two knuckleheads that really don't know what we're doing most of the time. So, not to count our eggs before they hatch, but if we could figure this out, I'm telling you guys, go buy that project car. Get out there, take the risks, make those stupid financial decisions, do what you need to do. Because if we could do it, anybody can. Now, I'm not sure if you guys remember, but this car is completely out of gas. So that's what I'm doing right now, filling it back up. You gotta understand, when you buy a car from Copart, they give you just a few droplets of gas. I am still in disbelief right now. I'm still in shock that I now have a cheap V10 supercar, and you wanna say, it's not a supercar. Well, guess what? If you bought this car back in 2007, or you bought a Lamborghini Gallardo. This car, 9 times out of 10, is gonna walk the Lamborghini Gallardo. It's got a high revving V10. It's got F1 transmission, that coupe styling. Why isn't this a supercar? It's no different than a front-mounted Ferrari. It really is the best bang for the buck supercar that you could buy right now. And while it is running again, it is far from being complete. We still have so much left to do to this. Now, I'm not gonna butcher the way the car looks. I'm not gonna put a body kit on it. So for everyone worried about that, you don't have to worry. But there's things that we need to do. A lot of things need to be restored. We need to get brand new tires because these tires are bald as fuck and completely rotted. You guys know the roof is completely fucked. This is a carbon fiber roof. It's just destroyed. So that's gonna take a lot of work, time, and effort. The interior is ripped to shreds. We gotta deal with that somehow. There's a lot of things we gotta do. We gotta do it on a budget. We have a lot of work to do, which means a lot of videos coming out soon. And on top of everything, this car isn't road legal. I don't even have a title for it. So I gotta get a title made, gotta get it to pass all the California safety bullshit laws, and that's gonna take some time and effort to do, but it could be done, and this thing will be blasting down the highway. Now, the one thing I know that's on top of everyone's mind is, how does it sound? It's got a V10 motor that revs super high. What does it sound like straight piped? And that will come soon, but right now the #1 priority on this car is getting the rod bearings done, because if we don't do that, the engine will blow up, and that'll be very problematic. We gotta clean that, clean all this. So we got some like French fries. That's the McDonald's fry right there. Today we're getting back to restoring the V10 M6 right here. We're on a journey of bringing it back to its former glory and little touch-ups here and there. So let's get started. Okay, next up for the M6, we gotta get new tires. These ones are dry rotted, they're bald, they're expired. Can't use them, and when you got a 500 horsepower supercar, you need to have good tires. So I bought a whole set of tires, so we're gonna put that on. But, you know, it's one of those things, while we're at it, we're gonna do a few little mods. So we're gonna powder coat the wheels, a lot of curb rash on them. This one actually is pretty good, but the other ones have a ton of curb rash. These are the stock M6 wheels, which are actually great wheels. They're light, they're forged, they got all the, you know, little gadgets. So we want to repowder coat them black, shiny, nice, metallic, and you know, swap out the new tires. So this thing on, dude.
Let me show you how it's really done. Shit, dude. It's gonna fucking hit me in the face. I think we're gonna need a little bit of help from the persuader. Is there like a bolt under here or something? Oh, holy shit. Okay. We got it off, guys. First try. First try.
Okay guys, we got the wheels back from Americoat. They did an awesome job powder coating the wheels for us. We went with the saddle black, so it looks like a shiny little black, but if we go out in the sun, it actually has a little bit of sparkle to it, a little bit of flake, so that's cool. Makes it a little bit more special. So special thanks to Americoat for doing that for us. What's great is that they repaired all the curb rash on it, they powder coated it, made it look all nice. See, I want to stick with the stock OEM wheels because they're forged, they're light, they're amazing wheels to begin with. So making them look all black and new again is great. It's gonna fit the rest of this car. Okay, now for some fun stuff. Wheel stud conversion. This is gonna make putting the wheels on and off a lot better, much more race car style. Something that I've been wanting to do to the M6 for a long time. So we're gonna put these in. You gotta put red Loctite on it. You gotta torque them down. We got some wheel spacers, very thin ones. And this is going to allow us to get the stock wheels to sit out a little bit further. It makes it more flush with the fender. It's basically, you know, how to take your stock rims and give it a better offset without, you know, buying different wheels. But we gotta clean off this surface and then put these in. Okay, so put some red Loctite around the threads. Just thread these bad boys in. Then we're gonna torque them all down too. Okay, so we're just gonna torque these down to 25 foot-pounds.
I see you're going in the star pattern.
Doesn't make a difference, I know. Just to have it. Now we slap this bad boy on.
Be really careful
now.
now.
Lug nuts now, finally. Lug nuts on a European car. Why am I not using the fucking grill? And then of course you go ahead and torque it to like 100 foot-pounds per one, whatever the OEM spec is for the M6. There we go, that actually looks great. It does.
It's missing, like it's missing something.
It's missing something. Oh, the center cap. That's what it's missing.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, let's put the car on the ground now. Okay, we got the big old fat boys mounted, balanced, all that stuff. So time to put it on the car. We got the spacer to help push it out. Wheels are powder coated and everything. So look how much easier it is putting them on with the stud conversion. Okay guys, we got the M6 back to where it all started. About 7 months ago, this car was delivered to me off of a trailer from Copart. That's when we went into the world of BMW V10s. My first BMW actually, really learning how fucked I was about to get myself in. And we quickly learned that the car wasn't running right, had a transmission issue, wouldn't drive. I even tried to sell the car after many mechanics told me to run to the hills. Luckily, we stuck with it. We ended up fixing the car, got rid of the misfires, pulled that SMG transmission out, replaced the clutch, replaced a bunch of very important components in the transmission. It is now a running, driving car once again. New tires, because the old ones were completely shot. Now, the next thing is rod bearings. Now, the rod bearings are on their way. They'll be here very soon, and we're going to take care of that. As much as I would love to go rip it right now, I got to wait till that, because if that engine goes kaboom, we got major problems. But there's still so much left, because we are not going to just get this car running and sell it. I plan on restoring this car back to its original glory. There's a lot of possibilities and possible futures for this car. One of my long-term goals with this car is I do want to take it to 200 miles per hour. So that's in the near future. There's always the supercharger route. There's a whole lot that could be done with this car, but this is a car that I've wanted for about a decade now. I finally have. So let's get it back to its original condition. As you guys know, the interior is an absolute disaster right now. The seats are ripped, everything's faded, crusty, gross. So we're gonna dive into that, remove the seats, take a look at pretty much everything we gotta restore and replace. As far as the exterior goes, luckily one of the big selling points on this car, the reason I bought it, was the paint was actually in really good shape. Bodywork is expensive, way out of my budget. I could replace a clutch. I'm not a big painter, if you guys haven't learned already. There's scratches, there's dings, there's things that we can repair, and we're gonna get on that. Give this car a really good detail real quick. The carbon fiber roof is completely destroyed. That's something that's gonna have to be tackled very soon. This car was wrapped, which is why it has been preserved so well, but the carbon fiber roof unfortunately lost. It was one of the casualties in this mess, but we will be fixing that. This car has a lot of special quirks about it, like this carbon Kevlar trunk. When the BMW engineers built this, they were basically given an open checkbook and said, let's build the craziest thing we can by putting a V10, an F1 derived, high revving, 500 horsepower V10 into this car. The F1 transmission, they did crazy stuff to this car. They say BMW is the ultimate driving machine. Well, if that's true, this is the ultimate driving machine. This is the pinnacle of BMW craftsmanship. This is when they said, fuck it. Let's put a V10 in a sports car, basically creating a supercar. They even did it with the M5 sedan, which is something I'd like to add to the channel soon as well. Let's start cleaning it. Let's start diving into things. Let's start taking care of business. One of the craziest things about this car to me is the fact that a brand new in 2007, this was over $100,000. Now, I don't have all the money in the world. I actually have very little money. And for me to buy a car like this that was originally so expensive and so nice for so cheap, and so far we are dirt cheap in the budget on this car, I love it. I love the fact that, a little bit of hard work and I could have such a nice, expensive car for so cheap. And even though these cars you can get for really cheap, done and running shape, I believe by the end of this, when we're finished with this car, I will have had it for a fraction of the price of what it would cost to go buy a used one, because we're gonna have everything done. Brand new clutch, rod bearings, and sure, you've got Craigslist ads where people say they've done it, but but you don't know if they've actually done it. So the fact that we're actually going to take care of every little tidbit, I'll have a pretty much bulletproof M6 for an extent of time. For my goal is to keep it under 10. So we'll see if we can hit that goal. Okay, first step is to basically just spray down the car and basically get all the cobwebs off and get a nice layer of water all over it before we start putting soap on it. So instantly the paint looks so much better. Look, the carbon fiber roof looks good now. Instantly just some water brought back the shine. I think it's time for soap. Okay, this is the most fun part. This is the satisfying part. Just completely cover it in my white goo. So, this car has been abused for so long, it's like, what the hell's happening? Am I actually being washed? Really just lathering it up. Multiple coats of soap. I like to get in there and let the pressure really push all that bird poop off. Sure, I could use a brush, but this is much easier. And I'm a lazy ass, so what do you expect? Believe it or not, this is not a sex toy. It's actually a wheel cleaning brush. Even though these wheels are very clean, got a little bit of dust in transport. These also look like the easiest wheels to clean of all time because they're just 5 spokes, but let's get the brush. Okay, my favorite thing is the puppet brush. And we just basically rub away at all the bird poop, try to get it off. This stuff has been sitting here for a long time, especially the bee poop, which is really bad for your paint. It'll eat right away at it. Luckily, this color is like a bluish silver, and because it's so light, the sun won't really bake it in. If this was a black car, it would be over. It would need to get repainted. Yeah, you should have seen Lenny's old BMW. It had so many little polka dot spots. Okay, now I'm just gonna wipe down all the soap, just spray it down. I wish I had better water pressure, but oh well. Okay, what we got right here is a clay bar. Now, I was using this just a second ago. What this does is basically pull out all the contaminants that are in the paint. So all those little specks and dust that are still there after washing the car, this clay bar, there's a special technique in doing this, but you basically can pull out that dirt and contaminants that got baked into the paint. So it stretches, it folds, it's almost like Play-Doh. It's just really tough and hard. This one's the light duty one. Lenny's got the heavy duty clay bar. We're gonna do the whole car, pull out all the contaminants, and then put a nice layer of wax to give it that show car shine. Okay, so the trunk right now is probably the worst spot in the entire car. It's like basically sandpaper. So we got the clay bar, quick detailer, basically just help let this glide on it. You don't want to use like wax or anything. You want to use something that's like supposed to remove contaminants. It just glides right across. Some of this stuff does not want to come out, but glossy smooth right now. It's crazy. Sandpaper, glossy smooth. Just do this to the entirety of the entire car. I've noticed that the top parts of the car, the part that the sun is directly aiming at, typically is the worst because that's where all the dirt has been baked into the clear coat. So this is basically pulling all that garbage out of the clear coat. I can tell that this front bumper has been repainted before because we got a drip mark right here. We got some of the paint chipping up here, and there's a big dent right there. Oh well, that's what it is. It matches close enough. Not too bad. I've re-kneaded it so much that the inside's all dirty.
Just a little bit more evidence to see how long this car has been sitting. I mean, look at the leaves and grime in this crevice right here. That's, you can't make this shit up. I mean, this shit happens over a long amount of time. I mean, look at this. Ooh, dude, that's nasty. We gotta clean all this out. I mean, look at the rag. We gotta clean all this out. All the crevices where things can kind of sit, that's where we start to see just tons of buildup. It's pretty gross. It's actually amazing how good the paint is. Oh, man, that's gross. Oh, we're gonna have to wipe the body down again. That is disgusting. We probably should have done this before we even started, but better late than ever. I mean, look how nice that is now. It's so much better. Just gotta sit here and just get all this crap gone. Look at this side. This side's even, actually it's not as bad. Ugh. Maybe I take a bite of that. There you go, just a few seconds of wiping and look how much better that is. And also, I'm not sure if you guys can see on camera, but this part of the bumper right here is very messed up. Eventually that's gonna need to get re-cleared. You can see it's actually kind of starting to crack and it's just super faded. So there's no point in clay barring this. It's already destroyed and there's some body damage, so oh well, we'll fix it.
Okay, now it's time to wax the car. And you got the liquid wax, the spray on wax, but we're gonna do it the old fashioned way with a good old pad. Now, an old Asian guy once taught me a special wax on, wax off method. His name is Mr. like Wasabi or some shit like that. I don't remember. Get it really thick on here. Now, We just start waxing on. Okay, now time to wax off. Just rub it all out. Look how shiny and clean it looks now. Now we got that protective barrier. It's gonna help protect us from shit flying through the air, especially from birds and bees. So there we go. Car's basically restored. I mean, cleaned it. Should be good to go. So put it up for 50 grand. I know what I have, no low balls. Okay, time to tackle the interior. So we haven't spent too much time in the interior, but just for a quick reminder, the A-pillar, headliner, B-pillar, C-pillar, package tray, all suede, amazing. It's actually in really good shape. This door panel is in phenomenal shape. Right here, the dash is all like actual leather stitched. We got some bubbles right here. That is not too hard to fix. Once we look at the seats are beat to death. The other door panel is in bad shape. Now this is a white interior, so we got a few options. We could either dye the interior black and get black seats, or just look for a while until we find a replacement set of white seats. We could also look at possibly getting the seats reupholstered. It just comes down to figuring out how can we do it within budget. I'm not, made of money. I'm not going to spend a fortune doing that. So we got to find out what makes sense financially and how we could fix that. I'm not going to just throw in some garbage, random seats from online into this car. Do want to keep the OEM seats. Anyways, the car is really dirty, so we're gonna remove the mats, remove the seat. Never opened up this before, so we got deodorant. We got whatever this is, Cricket wireless SIM card activation kit with a phone number right there. So apparently the owner was trying to get a burner phone is what this looks like. We got right here account number, PIN number. Okay, I'm not going to share that with you guys, but this looks like important information. We'll have to put that away. Got a little cigarette lighter USB piece, all the carbon fiber. We got this little card right here, Frank Selby, host Fish Hunt Talk Radio. I don't know why we have that business card right there. Interesting stuff. Nothing interesting in the center console. We've already gone through that in the first video. So let's start pulling shit out. So I just gotta remove the little caps, 16 mil, and just remove each one. So it's not too bad. And then this one right here. And then just move the seat forward and do the two in the rear. Okay, so we just have to disconnect this little yellow thing, and that's what controls like the seat, all the functions and stuff. Now, in this car, apparently if this stuff gets fucked up or you put in a different seat and you don't connect this, you could potentially have transmission problems where it won't shift out of certain gears because it's like a safety thing. So you don't want to fuck around with that shit. You want to make sure that this stuff is all working and in good shape. Probably shouldn't have done that, but okay, let's pull these out. Oh, and yeah, before I started messing around with this, I disconnected the battery because there's airbags in the seat, and it's a BMW. You don't want to take any chances. So we found some stuff under the seat, like this King's Garden, the king of weed. So interesting.
Okay, so now we're ready to pull the seats out. They're unbolted, they're disconnected from the wires. And we're gonna do this mainly not only to clean the car, get a thorough inspection, and kind of be able to kind of get more in there and kind of see what needs to be replaced. So they're heavy, they're expensive. Oh my God, it's really heavy. There we go. We'll kind of place it right there. Dude, look how beat this seat is. I mean, guys, as you can see, this seat is destroyed. I don't know if this dude was 3,000 pounds. I don't know what he was doing on this seat, but it did not stand up to the test of time. This seat is basically as good as garbage. This seat would need to get completely reupholstered or replaced in the condition that it's in. And the driver one is much worse. It's really digging into my side here. Can't drop it. There we go. As you can see, I mean, I'm a big guy, but I've never sat in a seat and got a complete hole in it.
Let's take a look at what we got over here. So we got the M seat piece. We gotta clean that, clean all this. So we got some like French fries. That's a McDonald's fry right there. So this piece right here ripped off, so I gotta repair that somehow. We got a New Del Mar Ray Sport Fishing, Marino Ray Sport Fishing. So this guy was a big time fisher. We got the factory sub, pump that music right underneath you. Another mat. This stuff's just not even... Oh, another sports fishing right there. So this guy was a big fisher. Let's start vacuuming. There's a lot of animal hair here. So I don't know if he had his... Oh, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. He must have had his like dog in the passenger seat, and that's why the seats are all ripped up. It's starting to make a lot of sense. A lot of dog hair right here. It's all starting to come together. Okay, we got our Super Sucker 3000 right here. We got about, what is that? That's 62 cents back. Nice. And this is so far, oh look, more coins. This is turned out to be a great investment. There's that additional 32 cents right there. So we're at 94 cents so far, almost at $1 back. It's so dirty. Another French fry right there. Okay, I'm basically shampooing this mat because there's a really bad stain in it. So just getting some foam on it and scrubbing it. There you go, it's pretty much gone now. And unfortunately my vacuum isn't the strongest, but the self car wash, those vacuums are super strong. Those will pull us right out. So we got it good enough for now. The rear seats are a little dirty, I can clean that up. This has to be replaced. And I've been looking, but I can't find a white one. So as soon as a white one is for sale, I'm probably gonna buy one, replace that. This one's in okay shape. This one could be cleaned. Door panel there's good. That door panel has some issues with it, although I think I could repair it. There's no point in replacing an entire door panel just for one spot. Steering wheel is actually in really good shape, although I'd love a suede one. Might work on that. But overall, it's mainly the seats. If we could figure out the seats, the interior will be 9 out of 10. So I don't know if they were trying to repair some kind of crack or something. This is a much harder plastic back here, so this is just sprayed on, and I can see there's some overspray right there. So they've been repaired at some point. I'm used to cheap cars where they have vinyl interior. This is all real leather. So we got our leather spray and just spraying it down, getting all that musty grime off of it. And you don't need to remove the seat to do this, but since we were doing it anyways, it's much easier to do it when it's out of the car. So something really important about this car is that this car has a smell unlike any other BMW, and I wish you guys could smell it, but it's got a very unique, distinct, rich leather smell. And for that very reason, I don't want to put air fresheners in there because I don't want to, you know, get rid of that smell. But at the same time, I don't want it to smell like shit either. So it's all about finding the right smells. It's part of a huge part of having a special car is the smell, especially with classic cars. Once this is done, we can throw these seats right back in. Now for the most important mod. I'm not a big fan of the chrome. Chrome looks good with black. On this color, I think blacked out would be better. It would match the wheels, it would match the windows. So we're gonna do a little chrome delete, put the gloss black grills on. First things first, I gotta remove these. Now, this is an M6. This is the pinnacle of German engineering right here. This is a work of art. I have to be very careful when removing this, okay? I'm not an animal. That's how it's done. Now we take the new ones, put them in there, give it a good love tap. It's in. Second one, boom. That's how the backseat always does BMWs. Okay, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I enjoyed making it. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you guys subscribe. Rod bearings are next. That's gonna come out very, very soon. They're almost here. So a lot of fun stuff. If you haven't seen the 335i update video, that one you're not gonna wanna miss out on. 600 horsepower, $1,600. Can't beat that.
We did a clutch job using an aftermarket spec clutch and readapted the trans and got the car running again. This put us about 50% forward, but we still needed to attack the Achilles heel of this car, the rod bearings. The factory defective component that could easily grenade this incredibly expensive engine. So today, we're gonna take care of it. And luckily, we're getting massive help from our friends over at Lang Racing Development.
Today we're at Lang Racing Development to do the rod bearings on our cheap V10 M6.
Now obviously the M6 is in good hands, but let's take a look at my rod bearings. While everything's disconnected, we can see the bottom of that amazing F1 derived high revving V10 engine. I know it looks like those are aftermarket headers, but no, those are the stock headers from the factory, which is part of the reason why this car sounds so good, which you'll see in a few minutes.
Okay, we got two rod bearings out. You can see we got the lower one here, the upper one right here, and the upper one is showing copper already. So yeah, it's a good thing that we're getting to replacing this right now. They weren't completely collapsed yet, so that's good news. So far, no damage on the crank. Copper showing. Definitely time for replacement.
Now I want to thank our friends over at ECS Tuning for sending out a complete S85 rod bearing replacement kit. This comes with everything you need and more. Fresh oil change from yours truly, Liquimolly. We got new engine mounts which will come in handy later, you'll see. Genuine BMW rod bolts, ACL upgraded S85 bearings, new oil pan gaskets, a brand new steel braided Vanos line, and other replacement bolts and O-rings. We got everything we need to make this V10 M6 reliable and bulletproof. Now as more bearings come out, we start to see some more wear on them. You guys have to remember that these bearings are supposed to be replaced around 60,000 miles, and we're at 109,000 miles right now, way overdue. And the reason why I never drove it much after fixing the car, because I didn't want to push my luck. But now the new ones are going in, and the torquing process is very important. It's a long and careful process of torquing and loosening and retorquing, and you need a good torque angle wrench for this. I wouldn't dare using one of those junky torque angle tools you could buy at the store, which is basically what I did when building my LS. But an LS motor doesn't need to be nearly as precise as a BMW V10 engine.
Okay, so the first bearings that came out looked okay, not too bad. We just got another one out. This is cylinder number 3 right here. Top bearing, cylinder number 3. It's showing some wear, so it's a good thing we've got to this soon enough. I've had this car, basically we've had it running for what, over a month now, and I'm so tempted to go drive it, but this is exactly why we've waited, because this is a absolute necessity. Something you gotta do if you have the V8 M3 or the V10 M5 or M6. Just make sure you get this done, and if someone says that they got it done, it's not good enough. And even if they have receipts, people fake receipts all the time. So if you have a receipt, call the place that did it and verify it, because if this goes out, you're looking at big money. Your engine will blow up. Once again, huge shout out to Andrew and Ken at Ling Racing for helping us out big time, because this is an essential component to that high revving V10 engine. If you have a BMW or a Mercedes or Porsche or European car and you want it serviced by good professionals, bring it here to Ling Racing. They'll take good care of you.
And just like that, the rod bearing job is done, and it's time to start putting everything back together. And when we look at all the old bearings, not all of them have the same wear pattern. Also, we notice that the top bearings usually tend to wear much more than the bottom. But some of these were ready to start giving us issues, so it's a good thing we got to it in time. Now it's time to start putting everything back together, and before putting the subframe back in, we're gonna have the engine mounts replaced. And one of them didn't seem too bad, but the other one was shot. Way too much play, so it's a good thing it's getting replaced. Time to put the fresh oil in, gotta refill the power steering fluid. Now it's time for the first start. Wow, it sounds better than before.
Okay, the rod bearings are done. Let's go take it out on the street and give it a little test drive.
Holy crap, guys, this thing sounds insane. It's crazy. For so long we saw this car just sit and on a lift and do nothing, and now it's freaking ripping up and down the street. This is only the beginning.
Dude, holy cow. You just put your foot down and like it just keeps going, and this thing revs pretty high. The only problem is it's way too quiet. I think we got to straight pipe it. Okay guys, there you have it. The M6 is fully running now. I gotta finish getting the title for it, all the inspections and all that stuff. That's too boring, so I'm not gonna show that part. But we have a running car that we could start straight piping. We could do all kinds of stuff too. Once again, special thanks to Ling Racing Development, Pinnacle Auto Repair. They helped us out big time. So if you have a BMW, Mercedes, Porsche, you want it serviced by the right people, take your car here. They know what they're doing. They build engines, they do all that cool stuff. They have BMW race cars, they know what they're doing. This build, bringing an abandoned BMW M6 that was in a scrapyard ready to be turned into a metal cube of trash, bringing it back from the dead, couldn't have been done without our sponsors, with the beautiful minds and people who believe in this project, who saw the vision that we had to help bring this. This is not something that me and Lenny could have done just purely on our own. This is something that's a massive group effort to really bring an amazing, beautiful, fantastic piece of German engineering back to life. And also huge thanks to ECS Tuning Turner Motorsports, because they hooked us up with the full rod bearing replacement kit with the better bearings, the oil change kit, the engine mount, the Vanos line, all the other bolts that you need, full kit, everything you possibly need to make sure that your BMW could run reliably another 100,000 plus miles. So check them out. Make sure you like and subscribe. This is only the beginning for the BMW M6. We want to see it straight piped. We want to maybe see it supercharged. But most importantly, my 2025 goal is I want to get that car to 200 miles per hour. So we'll see if we can do it. Today we're going to be building a badass V10 M6. And for all of you who are tuning in for the first time, I bought this car for $5,900 at Copart. I want to share with you something that I did the other night. I completely removed all of that wrap off the top. So for those of you who know, this is a carbon fiber roof. Right now it looks terrible because I bought this car from a junkyard. Now when I bought it, it had this crusty wrap all over it. The wrap on the roof just started falling apart, so I took a razor blade. It took about 3 hours and I just pulled off every single piece. The thing has been baking in the sun for a few years. The gel coat's gone, the protective layering is gone. It needs to be completely refurbished. That we're gonna have to take care of. Let's get to modding. Okay, the first mod today is some carbon fiber. So we got a diffuser, we got a front lip. Not too many people sell carbon fiber for the M6 anymore. So this is from our friends over at Carbon Creations. So thanks to them for supplying this. Looks really nice. We're gonna put them on the car, and nothing adds horsepower quite like carbon fiber. We got our tape, our double-sided 3M tape all along it. So now I just gotta basically fit it perfectly. So, fit it. Smack that shit right in. Okay, well, we've basically built a GT3 car now. It looks cool, I like it. Okay, let's hope it doesn't fall off on the freeway.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That's not gonna hold up. We're gonna need some help from some set screws. Oh yeah, baby.
Yeah, this thing ain't going anywhere. Okay, time to add the front carbon fiber lip right here. Of course, this will make it faster. How long do you guys think I'll last until I scrape this thing right off? Okay, it's on. Tape's holding it, but I don't think that's enough. I think it's set screw time.
Did someone say set screw? Yeah.
Okay, quick update on the V10 M6. So I'm trying to get the paperwork done, and in the state of California, to get a car with a salvage title when you buy it from a salvage yard, you gotta do 3 big things. You gotta get a smog done. Okay, not too bad. So I've been driving it back and forth, getting all those readiness tests done. You gotta get a VIN verification, easy, take it to the DMV. And then you gotta do a safety inspection. Now, it used to be just a brake light, headlight inspection, super easy. Now you've gotta do this like multi-hour long process at a specialized place. You can't have any dash lights, which this is a BMW, it's gonna have dash lights. So I am now stuck in limbo because I have to fix every single dash light that this car has right now. Now, in a few videos ago, we put brand new tires on, we replaced the TPMS sensors. So we got rid of the tire light. Now, what we gotta do is fix that ABS light. This was the expensive one that I was dreading. So let me show you
what we plan to do. Okay, if you come to the driver front wheel well and you pull the wheel off and you pull out this inner liner, right here, we can see the ABS pump. This is a very, very mucho dinero part right here that I don't want to replace. You got all kinds of lines that go back and forth. So what we think after we used our gear wrench scan tool, which shows you like everything about this car, we saw that the motor is bad, which is this big black thing right here. Now, once again, I'm not an expert. This was my first BMW, you know, jumping right into the M6, looking at a bunch of forums. Basically, I think this little black motor is bad. Now, the good news is that I think I could get a replacement. The problem is that that piece is like 800 bucks. But luckily, I believe that it's the same part number off of, you know, like a 328i. So what I plan to do is go to the junkyard, find a 328i, and pull that piece off. And if we replace it, hopefully that solves our ABS light. That would be massive. That's something that we're gonna have to take care of. Top priority. But yeah, let's get back to, you know, making this car cool. Okay, time for the next mod. An Alcantara steering wheel. So this was sent from our friends over at Ozza Auto Wheel. Super nice. We got the M stitching. We got a little bit of like a gray mark right here, which kind of matches the white interior. Like actually, look, it actually matches like really well. This looks so much better. So let's swap it out. But the first thing we got to do is disconnect the battery.
All right. Make sure to disconnect the battery, otherwise it has the potential to blow up in your face. Disconnected.
Okay, first thing is to remove the airbag. And as I pull it out, look at all that hair that's on it. So this thing is nasty. But this is important, this shit's expensive. You're reusing that. So now we can see all kinds of shit. So first thing is that main bolt. Bolt is removed. And just pull it right off like that. So I'm guessing I gotta swap over the fucking paddle shifters now. Here's the difference between both steering wheels. And honestly, the leather one isn't bad, but this is a whole lot better. So looks nice, clean. We'll see how long it stays clean for. But yeah, I gotta get these paddle shifters swapped over. Let me, you know, check YouTube on how to do that. Okay, so we switched over the paddle shifters from the old wheel. My old one was broken, but it's fine. I don't use the paddles that much anyways. I'm more of a shifter guy. So anyways, we're gonna be putting this thing right on like this. Super simple. Literally just goes like right like that. Okay, airbag is plugged in. So now we're good.
There you go. How's it feel?
Really nice.
You have your own GT3 M6 now.
I know, we got carbon fiber, we got suede, we got everything we need. Okay, next up for this car are some hood struts, because the old ones are completely busted. See, when you buy a car from a junkyard, chances are you're gonna have to replace every single component on the car. And luckily we've had the help from a lot of sponsors, so I'm not in that deep on this car, but by the time we're done with this, it might have been cheaper to just buy a clean one. But you know what? Having a car that you've touched every component of, it's what makes it special. Okay, so I got two new hood struts. I just gotta start pulling them apart. There we go. Okay, so I just take a screwdriver, jam it in, pull this little tab off, and then this thing comes right out. Or just break it like I just did. So I got the new one, and I'm just gonna jam it in there. There we go.
Look at that, dude.
Look, I only need to replace one. No, I'm kidding. Let's do the next side. Oh, there we go. Hood struts are fixed. Let's test them out. Oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. Now it acts like a $100,000 car. Funny thing is, I actually bought those a long time ago, but I always forget to put them on. So, you know, better late than never, I guess. Okay, now for a mod to piss off all the purists. I've never been a fan of the blue in the BMW logo. I like the logo itself, I just don't like the blue. This, in my opinion, looks much better. And when I bought the car, it already had these things on here. Look, it's already falling out right now. They're so messed up. So we're gonna just pull those out. I have new replacements, but let's start changing it. And I know this is like an eBay purchase, and it says, you know, Chenghe on the back of it. I know, and I'm sure I'm gonna get flamed in the comments for it, but I don't really care. I think this looks much better and it'll help make that M6 look a little bit better, I think. For those of you who don't know, because they used to make airplanes, and this looks much more like an airplane, or, you know, a crosshair or something.
It's a propeller.
Let's remove this sticker. This is the most Temu-like mod I've ever done on this car. It's actually nice quality, it's not that bad. Slam that in there, it looks nice. We just powder coated the wheels. The whole car is dirty right now, but forget that, we'll clean it. There we go. So I even had one for the steering wheel too. So apparently Lenny hates them. He thinks they look terrible and tacky. I think it looks good, so let me know in the comments down below. Is it incredibly tacky? Did I just ruin the M6? Or is it a tasteful mod? Now, unfortunately, the kit that I bought didn't include one for the rear, so I might have to just take a Sharpie right here. I don't know, maybe a Sharpie or a sticker or something. I don't know if you guys remember, but the rotors when I picked up this car was so rusty and so bad. And everyone said, you gotta change the rotors, they're bad. Sometimes all you gotta do is put a few miles on it. It cleans it right up. You know, 3, 4, 5 years of sitting. Who knows how long this car sat, but it sat in a junkyard for a few years. And what a nightmare those rotors used to be, but we cleaned it up. So something interesting that you guys might want to know on restoring this car. Obviously I bought it from Copart, a scrapyard, and I had to go to the DMV and do all the paperwork and all that stuff. So when I got there, I sat at the DMV for about 5 hours, like how it normally goes. You know, painful, brutal process. And I gave them all the forms that I had from Copart, and they tried to get me to pay the registration for all the years that it sat in the junkyard. And I told them there's no fucking way I'm doing that. No fucking way I'm paying any kind of tax registration on a car that sat in a junkyard and wasn't on public roads. And especially because it wasn't under my ownership. So of course the guy at the DMV was like, oh no, you gotta, that's just the way it works, man. You just gotta do it. And I said, no dude, give me the fucking statement of facts, I'll file it. I've had these things waived before, I'll have it waived again. He told me, get in the back of the fucking line. So I had to get back in that line, wait another 3 hours, but I don't care. They wanted me to pay like 3-4 grand worth of taxes and registration, and there's no fucking way I'm gonna do that. I'll burn the DMV down before I do that. So of course, got back in line, nightmare process, filled out the statement of facts, give it back, I get up with a new person, and now I'm working with someone who has no idea how anything works. It's like their first time at the DMV, and they're asking someone. Then there's this guy there, super cool, chill guy. He walks up and he's like, oh yeah, you could just waive the fees, blah, blah, blah. Boom, fees waived. Then he said, oh, also, you don't have to pay any kind of sales tax on it because you got a dismantler's ID. And the paper had the dismantler ID. So luckily, I didn't pay any sales tax. I didn't pay any of the registration. All I had to pay is the current registration from now forward. And of course you got to pay a smog fee and a title fee. So it ended up being like around 300 bucks, which isn't bad for a $100,000 car. So just once again, hopefully my message can help one of you guys. If you ever go to the DMV, know that most of the people there have no idea what they're doing. You know, they don't care. Don't go and be an asshole. Be nice to them. That's how you're gonna get stuff done. You catch more bees with honey than you do vinegar, okay? There's a reason you can get so many fees waived. Most people don't know that. They just pay. They get told what to do and they just pay all the fees. But you don't have to do that. So hopefully you learn something. So now it's time to go drive this baby. It's in limp mode. We got a check engine light.
Just turn it off. We'll scan it right here. We'll scan it right here.
Oh no, what's going on? Okay, we got it on a charger. Lenny's scanning the codes. What are we at right now?
Guess how many check engine lights we have?
Hopefully not too many.
There's 29 codes right now.
Okay, that's not terrible.
Like half of the computer systems are faulting at the moment.
It's a BMW, but what are the codes? What's going on? Why is it going to limp mode?
Let me just say, I think we're gonna need a new engine sponsor.
No. We just fixed the car.
I mean, look at these. Like, this is no joke.
Oh, dang, dude. You're leaking a bunch of fluid.
Dude, what is this? Oh, that's not engine oil.
This is my F1 V10 engine. Vroom, vroom, vroom. Well, let's just say that my beautiful V10 M6 is not very happy right now. We've come so far, and this is an amazing car to drive. It makes every little headache like this worth it. Trust me. You know, we've tackled almost everything so far. We changed out the coils. We did a full clutch job. We replaced a lot of seals on the transmission. We got to the rod bearings, new motor mounts. We even had some fun. New Alcantara steering wheel, carbon fiber bits front and rear. And as soon as we decided to start driving the car like it was meant to be driven, boom, it broke. But guess what? Not just one thing, like 5 different things broke all at once. So we're gonna go over everything that's wrong with the car. We're gonna fix some of it today. And I know this is why people are scared of this car. They say, I don't wanna buy it because it constantly breaks. But trust me, it's worth it. By the time we hammer out everything wrong with this car, it should be bulletproof. And it's just an absolute blast to drive. So I wanna get to working on the exhaust, which hopefully will be the next video. So let's start figuring out what's wrong with it now. Now, what I'm gonna show you, what's wrong with the car right now, is very, very, very expensive. We're talking about tens of thousands of dollars in damage right now that needs to be repaired. Don't worry, we're not gonna give up. We're gonna fix this. I know right now it looks like it's gonna be an impossible task, but we're gonna figure out a way. Whether I have to find used parts on eBay or go to junkyards, which is probably what we're gonna do, we will be getting parts one way or the other, and we're gonna make this work. First thing wrong with the car, as you saw earlier, it's leaking transmission fluid now. Okay, problem uno. Well, we got the transmission leaking, which is not a good thing because we already pulled this transmission out. Now, pulling this transmission consists of removing the exhaust, removing all this heat shielding, removing the drive shaft, and then once you remove it, it's a pretty heavy transmission. There's no linkage, which makes it very easy. There's no actual linkage connecting to each other. It's all wired connections. What makes pulling this transmission hard is that there's not really a good spot. So we use our transmission jack with pieces of wood so that it doesn't destroy the lines. But you know, you got this cooler right here, very expensive. You got the SMG pump, if this thing cracks or breaks, very expensive. There's a lot of lines that go to very important parts that if those things break, we're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars there. So pulling this transmission is kind of a really big job. You gotta remove this. You know, getting to those bell housing bolts is not very easy. Hopefully we could fix it without removing it, but I'm seeing some fluid right there and we got fluid all right here. So if it's coming from up here, we're gonna have to drop the transmission. Okay, next thing is the suspension. Now the suspension in this car is the reason why this car drives like a dream. I mean, it's hard to convey how nice this car drives, and it's due to this very expensive suspension system, and it's leaking. So the shocks are, I mean, they're not out. Like, it's not like bottoming out or, you know, just completely like sagging on the ground, but they are leaking, which means, you know, it's time for replacement, and they're about $1,000 a piece. We're looking at $4,000 just in parts, genuine BMW. There's a lot of aftermarket coilovers you could do, which are much cheaper. Then you get rid of that whole EDC button. It will no longer become functional. I want to maintain that. Now, Bilstein sells an upgrade, which is like half the price, and you still get to have the EDC button work and have that great suspension. So that may be an avenue that will go down. It's not a like top priority like that we like the transmission, but this is something that's gonna need to be addressed very soon. Okay, if you watched the last video, I kind of went over the ABS problem we're having. In order for me to get a title made here in California, I need to basically get rid of all the dash lights that we got. Now, that means I gotta fix them, unfortunately. So the ABS system, that block is like $4,000. So if there's problems with that, it's obviously very expensive. Now, luckily, using our high quality scan tool, I was able to see that the motor is bad and is what is giving the code. So hopefully it's just the motor, that little black circle. Now that component itself for this car is about $900. But I have a suspicion, some people in the forums say yes, some people say no. I have the suspicion that as long as the serial number is the same, and I could get one off of like a 328i or 528i or 6 whatever, just another BMW around this era, I think I could just bolt it on and I think that'll work. Worst case scenario, if that doesn't work,
you can rebuild them. So I will be rebuilding that piece. We have options. We're gonna figure out how to fix that. Okay, once again, guys, if I were to take this car to the dealership and see how much they wanna charge, it would be an arm and a leg. And that's why no one wants to buy these cars. And take it from me, I'm not a BMW expert. I mean, I've had a few BMWs. This was my first BMW I bought last year. I know very little about BMWs, but we're tackling these things because I wanna show you that this car is actually designed very well. And I know people say things like these cars are super unreliable and they break and they're terrible. They're not. They're really not that bad. You're getting Lamborghini qualities, Ferrari qualities, and a very cheap sports car. So of course it's gonna have the maintenance of a Lamborghini or Ferrari. But I believe most of this stuff, any DIYer could do it themselves. That's why I wanna show you guys, you can tackle these things yourself. It's not that hard. So even though that component is $900 and the whole block is $4,000, I know that I could go to a junkyard and get that little piece for about $7. And some days at the junkyard they have half off, so it might even be less than that. So we'll be able to fix this problem hopefully for dirt cheap. Okay, let's talk about the power steering. So since I got this car, it had a really loud winding power steering noise. You could say, oh, the power steering's broken, but the power steering worked, so it was low on fluid. We put fluid in, winding was still there. And this actually happens on a lot of BMWs and a lot of cars, so you get air in it. So you gotta bleed it, and one of the best ways to do that is to take the cap off, fill it up with fluid, leave the cap off, and then start up the car and turn the steering wheel back and forth, and it'll get the air out of the line. You gotta sometimes fill up some more. But we did that, and a lot of people were commenting on our earlier videos saying, oh, the power steering pump is broken, and it's this huge issue. That's not true. I'm not saying that this power steering pump won't break in the future, but we filled it up with fluid. I've put about 250 miles on it since then, and we got no leaks from there. So far, knock on wood. Sometimes it's as simple as putting fluid in, properly bleeding it, problem solved. So you got that whole train of thought where it's, if something's making noise or whatever, just replace it, spend all the money. And most, M6 owners, they take it to their mechanic and, just replace it. Most mechanics, they make money from selling you parts. They don't make money on the labor. They make money on selling you parts. So they tell you, replace the part, replace the part. It used to be back in the day, oh, if a part's broken, you fix it. And just like with our 335i, we didn't go buy a brand new $500 alternator. They don't even make the good alternators anymore. They use the regulators from China. So we had it rebuilt by an alternator guy who had the regulator from Hungary. So sometimes rebuilding it is not only cost effective, but it's better overall. So anyways, with this, we're good on that. Okay, let's look at the next thing. Okay, so as far as the motor goes, because everyone's interested in that. Well, we got multiple check engine lights. One really big one, putting us into limp mode. The other one, which is still important, that we're gonna tackle right now, is a thermostat. Thermostat is not working anymore. So I bought a replacement thermostat, and while we replace this, which we're gonna do that in this video, we're gonna do a full coolant flush. Because this car has been sitting in a junkyard and has been clearly deprived, it's not a bad idea to just flush the coolant. We got a thermostat right here. It's an OEM one. Looks pretty cool. It's kind of big, much bigger than one in a small block Chevy. If you don't know, what the thermostat does is it controls the flow of coolant, allowing you to warm up your engine faster. And then once your engine's warm, allow enough coolant to flow through. That way, you could cool down your motor. Very important piece. You don't want this getting stuck closed. You don't want it getting stuck open, because if it gets stuck open, it's gonna take a lot longer to warm up your engine. And I know you guys see me rip on it. I always let the engine warm up before I rip on it. And people are saying you need to break in the rod bearings. You don't need to break in the rod bearings. Once the car is warm and the oil's up to temp, you could rip on it because there's no wear pattern. It sits on oil. So rod bearings, you slap the new babies in, you could, take this thing to redline, which is exactly what I did. But obviously, you want to make sure that oil is up to temp. That way you don't blow up your motor. Okay, as far as the big problem with this engine, causing it to go into limp mode, causing it to act up, is the throttle actuators. Now, the throttle actuators are the other big thing that could go wrong with this car. It's not as common on this car as it is with the M3, but it is pretty common with the M5s and M6s. They are underneath this. So we got to pull this off because we got to get to the thermostat, which is right here, which you got 4 hoses going to right now. So it's kind of a big thing. So we're going to replace the thermostat. Throttle actuators, once again, Mucho dinero.
And then, you know, we're not even talking about labor here. Getting a shop to do all this stuff, you're talking about big money. But it is actually pretty simple to do. You could do it yourself very easily. Throttle actuators are on their way. So we just gotta wait for them. The good news is that when we clear the code, it goes away for a little bit. And you could, you know, rip on the car a little bit and then it comes back. So we can at least drive the car a little bit. But throttle actuators have to get done because, you know, it kind of just pops up out of nowhere once you start getting on the higher revs. So let's remove this manifold and get to work on that thermostat. Okay, pulling that thing off was a little bit harder than I thought it would be, mainly just because this car is very beat and things are old and, you know, temperature, it gets hot, they get cracked. So one of these pieces broke right here, nothing a zip tie can't fix, but you have a lot of vacuum lines that go to that intake manifold. So look at this. This is beautiful. I mean, these are independent throttle bodies. This is what makes this car so special. This is what makes all the pain in the asses worth it. Because where do you see this other than like a fucking F1 car? A V10 independent throttle bodies. Look, here's the throttle linkage right here. Look at this shit. Opens up and closes, you know, when you give it gas. That is so cool. And it makes that amazing induction sound. This is just so special. The BMW engineers were fucking nuts when they decided to cram this engine in here. And then the fact that you could pick these cars up for dirt cheap. They're phenomenal cars to drive. I'm really becoming like a full-blown fucking M6 nut here. And I'm glad that I'm learning because, you know, who knows, maybe I'll buy another M6 one day. Or maybe a M5, the sedan version of this car. So now that that's off, we could get to the thermostat, which is in this spot right here. So if you look, see all these hoses? Right in there is where you put the thermostat. So we got to replace that. Also, throttle actuators. This would be so much easier if I had the throttle actuators right now, but we're gonna replace the thermostat, put everything back, and then in a week or so, when I get the throttle actuators, we'll have to swap them out. But they're right there, and they basically go to the linkage that controls that. We gotta drain the coolant. That way, when we start, you know, disconnecting this, we're not making a huge mess all over the place.
Okay, the next step for this process is to get all of that gross old coolant out of the car. Now, there are two drainage spots on this radiator. One is a lot higher. You don't have to flush out all the radiator, but because this car sat in a field for so long, it's a good idea to just do a coolant flush. We're already taking out half of it, so there's a little knob right here. I'm gonna use my rusty channel locks, and we should start seeing some fluid dribble out of here. Line my little, there we go.
A bunch of blue Gatorade. You know, all things considered, it actually looks fairly clean.
Okay, so now that all the blue Gatorade is drained out of the car, this is our thermostat housing. There's like 3 bolts. We already removed the coolant. It should be like a freaking breeze. Just hope I don't break any of these really expensive radiator lines. The YouTube video I watched just says to slowly pry these out. Okay, so I got both of the big hoses disconnected. The bolts are out. Now it's just a matter of finagling this thing out of this tight little area. Okay, and there we go. That is, oh, sorry, oopsies. That is the thermostat, the old one, but look at this housing. 2 upper radiator hoses in this car and 2 lower radiator hoses. And this just has to pop out somehow.
Okay, removing the old thermostat was really hard because it was like baked in there. It did not want to come out. But with a little bit of persuasion, it came out. We got the new one, put that right in there. Just kind of hammer it in a little bit, and my Band-Aid just flew off. I hope it didn't fly into the engine bay. Well, it's in the engine bay. Now is the hard part. We gotta put it in. And you gotta be really careful not to fuck up anything. Okay, now we just torque them down to 10 Newton meters. Okay. I mean, I think everything's in now. Oh, I gotta put the main hoses in. Okay. Now that the thermostat's changed, it's time to fill up some coolant. I gotta use a fucking funnel. We got our funnel, so now we can actually fill this thing up. Oop. Right into the throttle body. Okay, so now that the coolant is in, we gotta run the engine, make sure it goes in everywhere. We're gonna leave the manifold off. I don't know if you're allowed to do that, but fuck it, we're gonna do it anyways. And I'm sure these things will sound cool, so let's fucking find out.
Turn off, turn off!
Okay, so apparently you can't run it without it. I've seen people do it before. Maybe it's one of the vacuum leaks from one of the lines. I don't know. We'll just go ahead and put the manifold back on and see what happens.
Oh yeah! Great success!
Okay, thermostat's done. Let's tackle the transmission leak.
So what we did to diagnose the leak was I had Noah sit in the car and just kind of let the car run, and I was down here with a borescope, which is a little wire with a camera on it with a little screen. And basically I figured out, it's kind of hard to tell, but this right here is a banjo bolt. So that banjo bolt had a few drips underneath it while it was running. So I'm pretty sure we found our problem. Now that's the good news. The bad news is it's really hard and it's a really tight fit to get any tools up there. Guys, with this leak, there's like a 90% chance we're gonna have to drop this transmission, which is a huge pain in the ass because you have to remove the exhaust, you have to remove the heat shield, the drive shaft, and you can only tilt it so much because it's connected to the motor and the clutch. So it's absolutely terrible to do, but there is a slim chance with a bunch of wobbly extensions and a little bit of creativity that we can get something on there and tighten it, because Noah's dumbass never tightens bolts enough. So I'm gonna go on a limb here and say hopefully that's all we have to do. So fingers crossed, if we don't have to drop the transmission and we can get this done in a few minutes, that would be awesome. That will save us a ton of time.
Okay guys, we got our tool right here. It's actually supposed to be limp like this on purpose. This is going to make the job much easier. So yeah, let's just get this piece in there. Okay guys, we are on the banjo bolt, and now I just gotta tighten it and be very careful not to let it fall out.
Or break the banjo bolt.
Yeah.
It's going?
It's tightening.
Okay, don't go.
It feels like loose. Like it feels like it's like almost like it's about to get looser.
Can you get like a teensy bit more?
Just a little bit.
Okay, not too much.
Here, let's try that out.
Okay, Noah is going to start the car on the lift, and I'm going to inspect for leaks. So, fingers crossed, man.
Good?
Yeah, I think we're good. It's not leaking anymore. Yeah, dude, I don't see one drip anymore. So we were getting some drips. We're getting some drips right on this black reservoir. And I don't see any anymore. I think by some miracle, I think we're good to go now.
Okay, today's the day I've been waiting many years for. This was one of my dream cars. We finally got it. We finally got it running over the last 7 months. Hammered out a lot of the kinks, and now it's time to build that perfect, beautiful F1 exhaust for this car. Now, stock, it sounds pretty good. And you guys know that. But today we're taking it to the next level. Okay, we've got all the stainless pipes we need. We got 2 X pipes because we're gonna be building a custom double X pipe for this car. Our buddies at Valvetronic sent us out 2 valves muffler systems. We got all the whole wires and whole system to make it work. We're gonna be installing that once this is in. These are great because there's a valve right here, so from the touch of a button, you could have that refined, quieter note, and then you open up that valve and boom, it's loud. And with that double X pipe and that refined sound, it should sound like an F1 race going on. I used these on my 2017 Mustang GT and they were phenomenal. Okay, there we go. Okay, I'm stuck. The quiet still sounded good and the loud sounded awesome. So I'm really excited how they're gonna sound on the M6. Let's get started. Yeah,
Guess what, guys? We got channel sponsors. So welcome to the family, Liqui Moly and G-Technic. Two companies that we love to use because their products are really high quality. So Liqui Moly, we always use their oil and other fluids for oil changes. And it's great because, especially jumping into all these Beamers that we've been doing lately, they sell, you know, the exact oil that you want to put in your BMWs. I'm happy to introduce them to the Backspeed family. G-Technic, so if you like cleaning your car, detailing your car, you might know of G-Technic. They are like the highest level quality that you could possibly get. And when we have 10 cars at a time, we do a lot of cleaning. We do a lot of oil changes, and we do a lot of cleaning. So having their products on hand is amazing. And once again, welcome to the Backspeed family, G-Technic. The links for both of these companies will be in the description of every video. So make sure you give them love, tell them that we sent you. Most importantly, they believe in the project and they believe in the videos that we make and want to help us help make awesome content. These are the big ass mufflers, really restricting that beautiful sound that comes out of the car. We will be replacing the mufflers with the Valvetronic ones. We're gonna have to reuse these hangers. So we gotta make sure we cut these off precisely and put them exactly where they need to be. So we can reuse those hangers. Then it comes down right here. And this is where you see, I'm pretty sure it looks like there was some kind of resonators there or something, and it's been re-welded, so someone did something already. You got this little spot right here that kind of looks like an H-pipe. I don't know if that's just connecting the two pipes or if that's actually an H-pipe. We got two hangers there. You got some more resonators right here. And then it goes right back, and then these connect to the headers. Now this car comes with factory headers, and this is what they look like. They're beautiful, and that's what helps give it such an amazing sound. They do have cats on them, but they're actually really free-flowing cats. You really don't have anything to gain by swapping out the headers. Doesn't mean we won't one day, but for now we won't, because those headers sound amazing. They don't really restrict power, so we're focusing on the header back to help really refine that sound. Step number one is to design the perfect double X pipe. It's kind of like one of those double helix that they call it. We got very little room to work with right here, so we gotta be really creative in how we can get this to fit. Something like that. Because I wanna reuse the hangers.
Now that those mufflers are removed, now it's time to cut off whatever this is to make room for the double X pipe. Let's get chopping. Oh, look at that, dude. It's smoking too. This is a straight pipe right here for this F1 engine. Now, we gotta put this back on the car.
Okay, so Lenny cut off the tips for both of our X pipes, and we're building a double helix. Now the double helix will help give it that exotic F1 sound that you want. Unfortunately, they didn't really sell one. There were some double helix, but they're very expensive. These are both, you know, high quality. I bought them on Amazon, just regular generic X pipes. We're gonna build our own because it's much, much cheaper. And also, this is gonna fit better. What we're dealing with right now is a massive problem in spacing. We have a tight little space, and one X pipe would have worked great, but we gotta do the double. So that's why we're building it ourselves. And like any kind of exhaust work is, it's put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off. Just keep checking, making sure that everything's perfect. Okay, the double helix is in. Now, I can make two pieces of metal stick together, but it's not gonna come out pretty. But I can make it happen. So that's exactly what we've got going on right here. Lenny polished up the original pipe right here that we have cut because it's like fitted perfectly. I'm gonna fit that right there. I'm gonna weld this on real quick. This is gonna have to be all custom to the new mufflers because the new mufflers are like 1/3 of the size of the old ones. So we're getting some weight savings as well. This is gonna make it sound really special. Now we still have the existing H-pipe right here. The H-pipe right here serves two purposes. One, it's part of the mount system right here, which helps keep everything straight. At the same time, H-pipes are good because they work as like a scavenger. So at the lower RPMs, to keep the exhaust gases for back pressure. So we're gonna leave that, but by adding this double X pipe, it's gonna help with the higher RPMs and that beautiful sound that we're looking for. So I'm really excited. Yeah, I still can't wait to hear this thing scream.
After spending so much time on that custom double X pipe, we realized that if we wanted to get this exhaust done in time, we had to shift into maximum overdrive.
So what we're gonna have to do is reutilize these old hangers built into the M6 muffler as it is. Now it's gonna take some engineering and some creativity, but I think we can do it. Okay, so I removed the actual little rubber hanger part that touches the car, basically to give me more room to get my cutting wheel in there. This isn't gonna be pretty, but it's functional and that's all that matters. And we're saving money, guys. A little bit of persuasion. Just like that, boom. So basically, it bolts in like right there, and then this will need to be welded onto the muffler.
The brackets are in, so basically it's just gonna go right up here. It's just tacked right now, nothing too permanent. Most of the piping right now, most of this exhaust is all just tacked in. We're just trying to make sure everything fits right. Once everything's fitted, we could pull the entire piece off as one big, one-piece exhaust. Clean up some welds, make them look some pretty. Remember, a grinder and paint will make you the welder you ain't. So we've cut two separate pieces, and you can see those cuts aren't perfect, but they're getting somewhere. This is a slip fit, connect this, create the ultimate connection for right here to right here. Barely is enough, that's all that matters. And then we gotta take the entire thing off because it'll be one big piece. Weld the entire thing, refine everything, clean anything that looks like it could be cleaned, shiny. Remember guys, chrome gets you dome, so shiny is always a good thing. One thing left to weld on while it's on, and that is the last hanger right here. We'll go over here, kind of like what we have going on right here. Right now, these welds are temporary, so we're just gonna get one more on.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Okay, the entire exhaust is now dropped again. Everything's tacked and pretty much fitted. What we gotta do now is completely seal everything. So anything that was tacked, go around with a thick bead. It's not gonna be the prettiest thing, but that's why you grind it, re-weld it, grind it until it looks decent. A lot of this exhaust is great from the factory. The only thing is that obviously it's dirty. This can be repolished. All you gotta do is just, spend some time and this could all be shiny again, which we'll do eventually. But for now, repolish this right here, completely weld. So we got our H pipe right here, factory H pipe. This is important, like I said before, with the scavenging of the exhaust gases. Then we go to our double X pipe custom. I don't think anyone's done a double X pipe on a V10 M6, at least that I don't know of. So this should make it sound very exotic. And then we go right back here to our Valvetronic mufflers. So thanks again to them for sending these out. These are great because you have the power of a muffler and a straight pipe at the same time. Little button, which you'll see very soon when we wire it up. Press that button, boom, it goes straight pipe. Press it again, boom, it's quiet. So we get the best of both worlds. So let's get to work, let's start welding. pretty much done. So a lot of grinding, a lot of welding, but our perfect F1 exhaust system is built. Now don't get too close, okay? The welds aren't that great. They're grinded down because I'm not a welder, okay? I can make two pieces of metal stick together and that's about it. But at the end of the day, this is function. That's purely what it is. It's designed to give it that beautiful F1 sound that we want to hear out of the beautiful F1 engine out of the M6. So we got straight off the factory headers, go to this thick girthy pipe to the resonators. Now you could delete the resonators if you want, but resonators are actually a good thing. They don't hurt power, they help refine the sound. So you keep the resonators. Then we go to the H pipe. So I basically bought two cheap, Amazon X pipes, and I put them together. And making this fit was very difficult because they're closer together here than it is on the exit here. So a lot of grinding and cutting and welding, and of course, we never have the perfect tools. And we're always missing, something. So it took a little bit of time, but it's done. Then this all shiny pipe all the way, and tons of cuts from here and here and here and here and here and here, all the way to our Valvetronic muffler. Let's put it in the car. Okay guys, we got everything wired up right now. So both muffler systems are connected. So this is a little vacuum box, and basically this plugs in right here. So you could plug that into a cigarette lighter, and a lot of BMWs have cigarette lighters in the rear. We don't in the M6. The cigarette lighters are up there. So what I do have is I have it going to the cigarette lighter fuse right here. And this is just one of those fuse taps. They're really easy. You just plug it right in and just connect it to the negative and positive of that wire. So we got it going right there. Negative straight to the battery. This is a big vacuum line right here. If you can see, it goes right here. Drilled a little hole, put a little grommet right there. Fitted that. That goes to a T, which goes to basically both muffler systems. So very simple, very easy. Luckily, BMW knew that when this car would depreciate over 20 years, that I would somehow get my hands on it and want to straight pipe it with a Valvetronic design. And that's exactly why they designed this little strap straight from the factory. So anyways, everything's connected now with this little button, this nice little metal piece that they give you. Basically, I just press this and boom, opens up. Then I want to close it, and it closes really fast. So super simple, awesome design. Time to hear how it sounds. Hear how it revs with the valves closed. Not too bad. Let's hear it when it's open. Holy shit, this thing sounds like an F1 car now. And I think a lot of that has to do with the double X pipe and the stock resonators just refining that sound, and then straight pipes all the way back. Last night I was breathing in all that chromium, just welding all that stainless steel together, and it's finally worth it. So what an amazing sound. Let's hear it with some load on it. Let's go take it for a drive. amazing. It sounds better in my opinion. Just driving, the actual like suspension, the way it feels, it is a heavy car, it is a big car, but it doesn't really feel that big. It doesn't feel super nimble like a tiny little car does, but it doesn't feel as heavy as it is. It doesn't feel as big as it is. You've got a very unique power curve. It's not like you have that, you know, chassis twisting torque off the line, but you have that amazing horsepower ride all the way up to 8,000 RPM. Guys, it's crazy to think that, you know, you could pick these cars up for, you know, under $10,000. What you get out of it. I mean, a high revving V10, you just don't get that out of anything. Okay, well, there you have it, guys. A V10 straight piped, custom exhaust, and that's what it sounds like a fucking F1 car. It sounds amazing. And I know this car has been incredibly neglected for so many years, and you know, we're in the middle of restoring it. We probably should have, you know, fixed some things instead of go jump straight to the exhaust, but we just, you know, we had to do it. So up next on the list is those throttle actuators. They are on their way. Replacing those is essential. Because the code, I guarantee if I start this car up right now, that code's gonna come back and it puts you into limp mode. So we gotta change those out. What I'm trying to do is get a company to sponsor one of those carbon plenums that are like $6,000. So an entire carbon plenum that goes with a carbon airbox, I think would be really cool. So if we could get our hands on one of those, that would be cool. Next thing up too is this atrocious roof right here. I mean, part of the reason I bought this car and picked this one was I know it was broken, but the paint was in such good shape. Paint is so expensive. I could do a clutch job, I could do, you know, little things here and there. Paint's super expensive. This car has such great paint. The biggest cosmetic flaw with it is the roof. This roof, the California sun has destroyed it, just completely decimated it. Now I removed the wrap, but we got to restore this, and it's a little bit harder than just grabbing a can of, you know, 2K clear and just spraying it over. You got to sand this down much more and potentially reapply a gel coat onto it. You know, I'm gonna try to find a carbon fiber expert that can lead me in the right direction on how we can restore this, but I want this to come out nice because the rest of the car is pretty nice. And then of course the atrocious seats, that has to be done as soon as possible. The good news is that the seats are very comfy. You know, the padding inside of them hasn't been completely destroyed. Whether I get these reupholstered or I could find some nice white seats. But, you know, we've come a very long way with this car, and I'm pretty happy with what we've done so far. Another possible thing we could do is go the supercharger route. So let me know in the comments down below if that's something you're interested in. I know the manual swap, trust me, I want to do a manual swap, but I just did all that work to put the clutch in, and the SMG is supposed to be, you know, a fun experience. So I'm not so keen on jumping into a manual swap, but maybe we'll do that later on. Or maybe we'll get another V10 and do a manual swap. Either way, thank you for watching. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe for more awesome updates. We do all kinds of cool builds. We got, what, 10 builds on the channel right now? So we got so many different cars, you know, we're playing with right now. So go check those videos out.
Okay, today's the day where we finally fix this car to the point where we could make it road legal again. Now, this journey began almost a year ago when I picked this car up from the junkyard, completely totaled, completely salvaged. Everything was pretty much broken. Of course, knowing me, I dove headfirst into my first BMW, and out of all the ones to pick, I pick the V10 M6, the one that scares mechanics shitless because of all the problems it has. Now, I know it's been a year and we've accomplished so much. We've fixed so many things, from the rod bearings to the clutch to the thermostat to miscellaneous things here and there. But the main thing plaguing this car is that $4,000 ABS control unit right here. And just calling around, turns out this job would have been much, much more expensive than I thought.
Hi, I have a 2007 BMW M6 and I'm looking for the ABS control module.
Control module?
Yeah.
Alright. Give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah.
I do not have it in stock. We have 2 local in the warehouse. We can get it to you in the next 2 days. You're looking at $5,183 after taxes.
It's $5,000?
Yeah.
Okay guys, you have to understand that I need this ABS unit fixed because in order for me to get a title and registration from the state of California, get the salvage title and complete all the bullshit, I have to pass the California safety inspection. In order to do that, you need to have no dash lights, no check engine lights, no ABS lights. So that's why we're in this predicament right now. And right now, it's $5,000 just for the part itself. Now the ABS control unit is right in here. Now I know it sounds scary, I know it seems impossible, but I think getting a little creative, we may be able to utilize a $10 junkyard part to solve our problem. But it's not gonna be easy and it's gonna be a little bit of work, but that's what the journey is all about. So let's get on it. On a quick side note, you guys know this carbon roof is completely destroyed. Well, I had some free time and I sanded off right here, I taped it off and I just hit it with some 2K clear and look how much better that looks. This isn't perfect, but it looks a whole lot better. And that was just a test. So I'll be making a separate video going much more in detail on bringing this carbon roof back to life because I know a lot of people have this problem. And what we're essentially gonna do is sand it down, epoxy it, and then clear it. And hopefully getting this thing all shiny, brand new, because carbon roofs are badass. So why not make it look nice? Here we are, we're at the junkyard, and we gotta find an ABS pump unit. I'm looking for maybe like a 5 or 6 series here. There's plenty of older, you know, E60s here, plenty of everything here. So let's go find one and pull it out. Back in the day, I used to come out here and pull steering wheels off of Mustangs because the leather ones would sell for, you know, 150 bucks, and I could pick them up for 12 to 15 bucks. It's a great side hustle. Made a little bit of extra cash to, you know, dump into my project cars.
Oh,
here we go. So this is a 2004 525, and it is right here. There we go. So we gotta get a clipper and clip these off. I'm gonna pull it out.
so actually we found a much better condition one right here. Actually, the other one had a lot of wires cut already, so let's cut this one out. It's ridiculously easy to cut. Kind of makes you think. Kind of sketchy. This is what your ex-girlfriend could be doing in the middle of the night. Okay, all the brake lines are cut. Now, oh, Jesus Christ.
My homemade little thing doesn't work.
Now we're good.
Hold on. All right, we should, oh, look at that, like butter. All right, time to go see if we could salvage some parts from this to make the M6 work.
Any interior pieces we need? Not too bad. Gauges are in good shape. Okay, to get to the ABS, it's right back here. So we're gonna take this wheel off. Okay, the next step is to pull this out. Put it around the brake, just shove it over here. Now we have access to the good stuff. So we pulled the ABS control unit out of the car. This thing is super expensive. We don't want to break any of the components on it. And you can see I plugged each one of the brake lines. We made kind of a mess pulling it out, but it's good. We need to do a brake fluid flush anyways. Now this is the one that we pulled out of the junkyard. And basically we're gonna be scrapping the parts out of this to utilize for this. So instead of spending like over $1,000 for a brand new one of these, we're gonna fix the problem for about $10. And that's by reutilizing these components. So I pulled this one out. This is out of an E60 5 Series. So you can see right here, when I just start pulling this stuff apart, that thing right there. So I'm not an expert on all this, but what this is some kind of electric motor. Now, the reason the ABS doesn't work is because the electric motor in this stopped working, and it has to do with these little brushes. So pulling this out of a used one presents a problem. This could be busted. This might not work, and all this time could be wasted. But we're gonna have to pull that out anyways, and for $10, I think it's worth trying. Now, the brushes look pretty good right here. I'm gonna hope that they work. And to test to make sure that the brushes actually work, we've got a positive and negative to a little battery pack, and we're gonna test it, and there you go. So what that means is that this one's working like I suspected.
So we can utilize those brushes for this. Okay, we're removing this. There we go. So I'm guessing that this thing's burned up. Now Lenny's gonna test to see if it moves with some electricity.
Boom, nothing. Nothing at all. So that's how we know it's actually seized, and we should be able to fix it. Fingers crossed.
I'm removing this from the magnet.
Oh, dude.
And this is super corroded, if you can't tell already. The other one did not look like this at all. It is super corroded, and then these little wire brushes right here, you're supposed to be able to move it back. It is completely stuck, which is good news. This is, I mean, it's kind of bad news also because I don't know if we're gonna be able to fix this. So that's a big problem. So we're gonna have to remove this bearing. I already bought a new bearing, so we're good. So we'll remove this bearing and then see if we could free up these copper brushes. If not, you know, we have replacements we can pull out of this one. Hopefully that fixes it. So the motor goes right here. We've pulled the bearing out, it comes out. This is where our problem lies right here. You see these little brushes? Well, they're getting stuck. Everything's so damn corroded that it doesn't want to move. And they're supposed to freely bounce right back. So I gotta push to get them to come back out. Shouldn't be like that, it should automatically do it on its own. So we're gonna have to replace these brushes utilizing the other components, and hopefully it all fits and hopefully it works.
So after salvaging these brushes out of the working motor, I was able to get them to fit into the M6 ABS motor, and I had to solder them up, but hey, they're working now.
Everything is put back together. So moment of truth, is this actually gonna work? We're about to find out. So throw the negative in there, and okay, what was that, the little shock? Oh,
Here.
There we go. So it didn't do that before, it does that now. We should be good to go. So I'm gonna basically put this back on. We gotta reseal it, of course. We gotta put this thing back in the car, reconnect all the lines, then we gotta bleed the brakes, which, you know, it's a good thing to do brake fluid anyways. You're supposed to change your brake fluid every 2 years. Nobody does, but you're supposed to, especially in a high performance supercar like this. So we're gonna do that real quick. Then we could start the car and see if we still have that ABS light. What we're gonna have to do is either use our little gear wrench tablet to initiate the ABS system, or you could do it the old-fashioned way, go out in the street, slam on the brakes, try to get the ABS to lock up. Unfortunately, it's raining outside, and I'm not trying to, you know, slide the car into a wall, so we might just do it with the tablet, but we'll see.
Because we had to literally destroy the aluminum tabs to remove the motor, of course it couldn't be just held on by bolts like every other BMW ABS motor. We had to repin the tad bit aluminum left, but then just for safety I used a big glob of JB Weld, not only to help hold it on, but also to seal it up so it doesn't corrode again.
Okay, so we reassembled the whole ABS unit, the whole pump and everything back. All the lines are connected. What we gotta do now is add brake fluid and bleed it. Most fun job of any car guy. So this is what we got to do. Obviously, it's a BMW. I had to remove all the plastic just to get to the master cylinder. Pop this cap right off. And yep, it's pretty empty. So what we're going to do is fill it up with some brake fluid. Now that it's full of brake fluid, we got to bleed it. Of course, starting with the one farthest from the master cylinder and slowly work our way up. Hopefully this isn't too much of a bitch.
Unfortunately, the caliper's bleeder valves were so corroded I was worried I was going to snap them off, but luckily I was able to get them loose with some WD-40, and after a few rounds of bleeding, should be all good to go.
Okay, everything's put back together, all the wheels are bled, fresh brake fluid. Did our little trick work, or was it a huge, massive waste of time? Well, that's what we're about to find out. So of course we pull up all the codes. It's a BMW, of course it's got a billion codes on right now. But what we're looking for right now is that ABS code. Did we actually solve it? And basically, we're gonna run the ABS through this. That way it activates it, and that should theoretically get rid of the light. So we'll see. Okay, good news guys. I just used the little scan tool, ran the ABS pump, cleared the code, and look what's on the dash right now. Guys, we did it. We have a dash on a BMW from a salvage yard that doesn't look like a Christmas tree. In fact, there's not a single light on there for now, which is great news, which means I could finally get this car inspected. It means I could finally get a title issued. There's so many things. is just amazing. And then we could take it out on the road much more and give it a good rip. Well, guys, I am shocked that we were able to actually do it. A huge part of me thought, you know, we're grasping for straws here, going for that slim chance that maybe we could fix it, but we actually did, and we saved a whole lot of money in the process. And I hope that you guys learned something. Maybe this could help you guys save thousands of dollars. So make sure you share this video with a friend. Make sure you smash the like button. Make sure you subscribe if you want to see more V10 content, and I'll see you in the next one.